Welcome to Small Biz Life, episode 117, Creating a Destination Location.
Does this sound familiar?
Oh my God, I have so much to do today.
Don't forget to breathe.
But I have almost 400 emails in my inbox and 30 phone calls to make.
Have you looked into getting a virtual assistant yet?
Oh, and I need to schedule all my social media posts.
Did you drink anything today?
I had coffee.
Did you eat today?
Did I mention coffee's a bean?
This is Small Biz Life.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Small Biz Life. We're so glad that you are here with us today.
Yeah, no, and this is, I think, an interesting one. We've both been kind of looking forward to doing, a couple of episodes ago, we did one on future and trends for small businesses. And we thought specifically destination locations is something we really wanted to get more into, but just didn't have the time in that episode. So I've been really looking forward to this.
Yeah, no, and it was actually really interesting as we started doing the research. But let's introduce ourselves. I'm Kristin Ingram.
And I'm ready to go, Jeffrey Ingram.
And we're a husband and wife team of small business owners who are here to help you cut the crap out of your business so that you can do more of what you love to do.
Yes. And largely, people might wonder why we're obsessed with cutting the crap out. It's because we wish someone was around to help us cut the crap out. It could have saved us so much time, money, sweat, and tears when we both started trying to do this over a decade ago, almost 2 decades ago. So, geez.
Yeah, I know. It's been a long time.
I'm getting old.
But, here's the thing. I'm a CPA and Jeff's an IT professional. He's kind of our all tech all the time guy. And we have 30 years of combined experience working with small business owners. And so we kind of like to look at small business and say, okay, what are things that you need and what are things that you don't need?
Yes.
And we really feel that in order for brick and mortar to survive, you can't just be a store anymore. You have to be a destination location. And, I know some of you might be sitting there, well, I'm a virtual assistant, I'm a consultant. If you work with small businesses and you work with anybody that's brick and mortar, you need to be talking to them about this.
When the irony is, to stay competitive in the online space, you're going to need some kind of real footprint somewhere at some point too, if you really plan to grow and get large. So it's kind of a two-way thing, right? It's that blending that we're talking about of business not really being online or offline, but it's really about finding ways to step up your game to really distinguish yourself. And it's just not enough to wave your hands anymore.
Yep, exactly. So, this episode is not just for the brick and mortars. These are for all the people who work with the brick and mortars as well. So the first thing that we want you to think about is, are you a destination or a location currently? And I know we said creating a destination location. That sounds really complicated when I ask if you're a destination or a location. But here's the thing. Okay. A destination is a business that relies on people making a conscious decision to stop at your business. A location relies on high traffic areas to bring in customers.
Yes.
So if you kind of think about destinations are those places that you drive 30 minutes to get to because everybody tells you have to go there.
Yes, around where we live, it's the Yankee Candle. Going to the actual store at the place, or
which is out in the middle of nowhere.
Jerry's, which is out in the middle of nowhere, or they're never conveniently located.
The thing is sometimes they are.
I guess if you're around where they are,
right? But locations are those that they're in malls or they're in strip malls, and they're just hoping that people will stop in because they're in the area.
Yes.
And so if you think about which one would you rather be? Do you want to be that place that people go, oh, well, that looks interesting, I'm going to pop my head in? Or do you want to be that place hey, I have to go to this place today?
Or I guarantee you, if Kristin said, I really need this certain odd baking good, we'd be going up to King Arthur Flour, and that's hours away from us.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about like some businesses that we think do this really well, just so you can kind of get an idea of like what some of these businesses are doing. Another reason that you want to do this is because it creates a larger potential audience. And so the businesses that are doing this really successfully are not just brick and mortar businesses, but they're also online businesses as well. And the buzz that they are creating because they are a destination is creating this larger national audience where people buy from you online as well. So they totally want to stop in if they can, but they are buying from you just because they want you to be there when they come to your area.
It's like their online is bigger than just that, and their offline is bigger than just that. If they were really good at one of those two things, they would be a successful business, but they have become something even larger.
Your business becomes a place that people must see if they're near your area. And I think a lot of times like people think of like craft stores, like really like niche craft stores in this area. But we want to talk about some businesses that I've been to all of these places except one. And I've got friends who have been to the one I haven't been to and think it's amazing. But we wanted to talk about some different businesses that are really amazing at this. Okay. So the first one is called Jordan Furniture. And Jordan Furniture, they originally started in the Boston area, and they've kind of moved out. And there's actually one in Connecticut now as well. They'll think about furniture stores, right? They're boring for your kids. They're boring for your spouse. They're probably boring for you. They're not really a place that you think like, oh, I want to go there.
We have to get a new couch.
Right. Jordan has turned their stores into some place you want to go hang out. Some of their stores have IMAX theaters. They have rope courses. One of their stores has a Christmas village. One of them even has an ice skating rink. So now think about this. Like, you're not just going there because you need furniture. You're going there because you want to do the ropes course. You want to do the ice skating village. And the thing is, it's like, and there's charges for all that stuff, right? So like, it's not free. But what they've done is they've said, okay, listen, we want you to come in here and have fun. And then when you need furniture, you're going to think to come back here.
Yeah. And I think the other advantages too is it can be a process. And sometimes you either settle and you buy something you don't like, or you get frustrated and leave because someone who's with you is sick of it. You could be in the middle of shopping for that perfect dinette set and let's go watch the IMAX movie. We'll go do some trust falls at the ropes courses. Probably not the time. But we will go do something else and take a break from what we're doing, and we don't have to leave.
Right. And that's the thing. And the interesting thing is that because Jordan Furniture understands that they're a destination location, they ship furniture all over New England.
Yeah.
We have friends who have driven 90 minutes because Jordan Furniture is the only place that they will buy furniture. It is absolutely amazing to think that there's that kind of loyalty for a furniture store.
Yes, I mean, before Jordan's Furniture, and I'm sure if your area is anything like ours, is probably similar, where that furniture store every 5 to 20 years just changes owners. It has a going out of business sale, and then all of a sudden there's another furniture store there 6 months or a year later.
But I think typically when we think about furniture, we think about going to like the place that's closest to us, or maybe we go down to that town where there's all the shopping and there's like 3 or 4 of them there. People drive hours to get to Jordan Furniture. And I think that's just like amazing. When you kind of think of like, you'd never think a furniture store is a destination location.
I mean, and definitely if you have, I'm not saying put an IMAX theater into your barber shop. But, if you have something that you don't think people would consider a destination location. And funny, I talk about barbershops because, think about, like, I use Kennedy Barber, I think they call them a club.
Yeah.
But,
club.
You can go in, you can get a drink while you're there. They have games that you can play. You can sit and hang out and talk with people on one side and get your barbering stuff done on the other side.
And I think that that's a really good example. And we'll add that to the list when we put out the show notes. So if you've never heard of this before, I think this is a New England thing as well. I'm not sure that these are all over the country yet. Yeah. Actually, I think they're starting to spread out.
I don't know where they're from, but yeah.
But so the idea is you pay a monthly fee and you typically get like unlimited haircuts. And, if you want, you can add shaves to that and stuff.
And there's like different levels and different pricing. And yeah.
But the cool thing is, like you walk in, you can come in and hang out whenever you want. So yeah, they have a pool table. They have a whole bunch of gaming tables. They have a bar with a TV. You can get a beer for free.
Or a coffee, maybe wine. I mean, like Kristen's waited for me on the other side sometimes when I've been there.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, it's like, it's a place where you can hang out, even if you're not there to get a haircut. So it's like, it's one of those things that they took something, and I like, guys tend to be not as loyal with who cuts their hair. You kind of go to wherever, I don't know, maybe it's just you, but no, I think that's guys in general, that you kind of go wherever to get your haircut, whatever's most convenient. And what they've done at Kennedy's is they've said, okay, there's a subscription. Whenever you need a haircut, you can come in. If you want to come have a beer, if you just want to hang out, if you need someplace to come here. Especially
too, it's like it's after work. You don't want to do it, but you don't want to go to the barber because you're like, it's been a long, stressful day, but now you can go have a beer, get your haircut, and then go home.
Yeah, no, I think it's an amazing
happy hour plus a haircut.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so I would imagine that most of you have probably heard of this next company because they're an international company, IKEA.
Well, this is another one that's kind of Jordan's Furniture where you're kind of like, huh? But I remember a few years ago we were in Nashville and they didn't have one there, but everyone would talk about going to the IKEA in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Which for those of you who aren't good with geography, those are different states.
But no, it's like I think Atlanta's like 4 hours from Nashville.
It depends on the traffic.
Yeah, but that's things like people drive hours to go to an IKEA. I know our local IKEA is about 45 minutes away. But they've got a kids play area. They'll actually watch your kids while you're shopping. There's a restaurant. They've got lots of interesting products. You can try things out. It's very like hands-on for a furniture place. They also have like a Swedish food store.
Cinnamon buns.
Oh, the cinnamon buns are amazing and they're really inexpensive. But it's one of those places that people just go to. Like even if you don't need furniture, because they have lots of other
especially if they're
solutions.
from an area that doesn't have one. If they go to an area with an IKEA, they'll go. And then those are the people who end up going back. Driving the 3 or 4 hours sometimes to get to these places.
Yeah, and I mean, think about it. This is like the perfect. People don't typically go, oh, well, I see the IKEA, I'm going to stop in. People make a conscious decision to drive however many hours, to go to IKEA. And it's one of those places, I think one of the characteristics, right, is that it's one of those must-see places if you're in the area. And IKEA is totally one of those people like, have you been to IKEA? You've never been to IKEA?
Yeah, I've heard this conversation, yes.
Right? And you kind of feel like, oh my God, I'm the only person that hasn't been to IKEA.
Or I feel bad for this person because they seem to be the only person who hasn't been to IKEA.
I know.
You have to go to IKEA. It's for your own good.
Right, you have to go to IKEA. You have some Swedish meatballs. You get some cinnamon buns to bring home. And you're probably going to buy some stuff for your house. But it's a really cool place to go and just kind of explore. So I think they do a really good job. So the next one, and we've talked about this place in the past, Webb's. Webb's is they're a knitting store. They actually own yarn.com. Okay, to kind of give you some perspective.
Good choice in domain names there.
Oh yeah,
smart to get on that bandwagon early for them.
They are one of the largest yarn stores in the country. They have incredibly knowledgeable staff. Anybody who's anybody in the knitting world has probably done a book signing there or taught a class there. It is like the mecca of knitting, right? It is a place, if you are a knitter or a weaver, this is someplace you have to go before you die.
And this is an interesting one too, because yarn stores are one of those things that my wife has a lot of friends who are involved in sort of the fabric, creative arts, I guess you would call them. And, but a lot of times, like when we're on vacation, my wife looks at knitting stores. Sometimes if your industry might be like that, where people are like just looking for something when they go to the area, I just want to go check it out. I know I've done this for like role-playing game stores where I just want to go just check them out. And they're typically rare and horrible. So they don't do a very good job with this, I don't think. But yarn stores, certain kinds of industries, people are interested. And when they go somewhere, they just want to see what it's like there. So industries like that, it's easier to get to this way than in other, like furniture. That one amazes me. So
well, and it's interesting because I think there are some industries like that naturally lend themselves to being destination locations.
And I think a lot of breweries are starting to do this now too, right? You can come to the brewery and do a tasting.
Right. But here's the thing, I think that if you are in one of those industries where you think that somebody might seek you out if they're traveling, please God, have a good website. Because I know it's funny when we were, when we went to Florida earlier this year, the weather was crappy one day and we're like, we're going to go, we love used bookstores, really eccentric used bookstores. Oh, and that's kind of a thing. Like there is like this kind of cult of people.
And we are definitely, that is, yes.
And I mean, if you've ever seen any of our live videos, some of the books that we have books on weaponry, lots of medieval cultures, lots of ancient cultures. We have an entire shelf that is religious texts, we like really, especially Jeff, he uses this stuff as like inspiration for world building. But we found when we were driving around that like some of these places didn't have websites. Some of them, like, they just didn't describe themselves well online, or they didn't really have a presence online. And so we're like, well, we went to a couple, and after like a couple of them fizzled out, we're like, we're done, because these have been crappy. So probably all the other ones that don't have websites or presence, they're probably crappy too.
Yeah.
And we stopped, But what I can't remember the name of the one that we went to outside Nashville. That crazy gigantic.
That one was cool. I like that one.
But that was like a destination location because it had like millions of used books, and it had used games, and it had a coffee shop.
And think how easy your life is finding your audience if you are that kind of, if you're in the industry where people do actively seek out, not your store, but stores like you. It takes, Facebook ads that target people who like, pick out like the key terms of your industry, like the big magazine or whatever, and then are visiting your area. I mean, it's like two choices, 3 or 4 if you get really wordy in the things you choose. You can target people like that really easy.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, like, I think we kind of forget that we could be a destination location very easily if we just upped our presence game.
Yeah.
So make sure that you've gotten your Google listing, that you've actually claimed it. Make sure there are pictures of your business. Make sure you're on Yelp. Claim your Yelp. I know Jeff's rolling his eyes at me, but the thing is like you want to make sure people can find you.
I've never trusted or liked Yelp.
But the thing is, I do go to Yelp to check out like pictures of stores and what does it look like inside. And a lot of people do. And I know you don't trust it, but a lot of people use it. My impression's
pretty much that of the South Park review. So,
but that's the thing. So, think about how do you up your game to make it easier for people to find you. Okay. Webs offers multi-day classes. So like if you want to come and stay, you can take like a 3-day course. They have a podcast. They have a very large presence online. Their online store I think is bigger than the store itself. But the cool thing is they have their own yarn brands you can't get anywhere else, like private label stuff. you know, like I said, it's a place that, like, knitters, when I say I live 45 minutes from Webb's, most knitters are like, oh my God, that's awesome. That is you're so lucky. It's a thing that if you're a knitter, everybody knows it. It's kind of like the next one, way out in the middle of nowhere in Vermont is King Arthur Flour. Yeah. And I know a lot of people, they know King Arthur Flour because they've seen it in the stores. King Arthur Flour has, you know, first of all, they have a great product, right? And it's like the only flour that I'll bake with. But they have amazing master classes, and some of them are multiple days long. If you want to, like, become a better baker, people will fly out to King Arthur Flour to take classes there.
And there are certain things that we've always looked for, because recipes will always ask, what was it? Is it espresso powder? And we never found it anywhere around where we are. But we were up at King Arthur Flour, and they have, like, not only the major stuff there, but you can get all of those little things that you keep seeing in recipes. They're like, well, if you can't get espresso powder, your life will suck, but you could use this other thing instead. But, you know, and then you get it, and you try it, like, wow, it is better. You know, so, but, you know, it's this thing, like, you know, and that's the easier pull, because, you know, for people like me, I can eat the fruits of the labor for going there, so.
But, and the thing is, and like, they have a bakery there. So, you know, if you want something, you don't want to have to wait until you get home. They have baking supplies and, you know, different food products that are really hard, like, to find.
All of those really weird ones that, like, you've seen in one recipe with a special tool, it's there.
Well, it's like, if you're a baker, okay, the greatest thing that I have bought from King Arthur Flour is they have a yeast spoon, okay? And a yeast spoon is a spoon that measures out exactly a packet of yeast. Because if you bake, you know that yeast packets are really expensive, and it's much less expensive to buy a jar.
It's hard to measure it.
Right, but the problem is, you know, a packet of yeast is 2¼ teaspoons of yeast. So they actually sell a yeast spoon that perfectly measures out a packet.
One spoon, one scoop.
And it's funny, I've never been able to find it anywhere other than King Arthur Flour. They're the only people that I've found that sell this. You can buy it online, so if you can't make it to Vermont, that's okay.
If you open up a restaurant, you can probably go to a restaurant style place and get one, but
I haven't even seen them on those. Like, this is the only place I've ever seen them. It's one of those places that, like, if you're really into baking, you know, it's a really cool place to go. And you get bored a lot of times, like, but this was a place that you were like, oh, there's that thing. Hey, we saw that in a recipe. We should, and we came home with, like, all these different things to try. And then you can buy it online afterwards.
I'm not a baker, but I've eaten baked goods and I like it.
That's right. Exactly. You know, it's one of those places, if you're ever up in Vermont, two places you have to check out. You have to go to Ben & Jerry's, and you have to go to King Arthur Flour. And I think Jeff would argue you should also go to Cabot Cheese.
Cabot Cheese.
But that's kind of
Wicker place.
and Basketville. But it's funny because it's like, you know, it's these places that, you know, you wouldn't think, like, okay, Ben & Jerry's is a manufacturer. Like, why would I go to Ben & Jerry's? They make ice cream. But you can do a factory tour. It's up in Vermont. There's lots of cows. It's a really cool place to go. You know, they've turned it into something more than just, this is our production facility. And Cabot Cheese does the same thing. You can tour and everything. It's very cool. And then the last one, and this is a restaurant, but this is one of those places that every time somebody says, I'm going to Nashville, where do I have to go? Inevitably, multiple people will say, you must go to Loveless Cafe.
And, you know, there's a lot of great restaurants in Nashville. And, you know, the difference is Loveless is a destination. The other places are great places to eat.
Yeah, and the thing is, Loveless is out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it is a drive, you know, because it's not like in the heart of Nashville.
Kristin's from New England, so for all you people who live out in big states, you're like, it's only like a few minutes, but yeah.
But I mean, the thing is, like, there's nothing around it, really.
Yes,
there's some residential stuff, but it's not like it's in a shopping district. It's not in a downtown area. The thing with Loveless is they have really good food. They have shopping. they've really turned themselves into a national brand through their online store. So like when you go there, you get biscuits, which are amazing. And they have like homemade jams that they make there.
Which are amazing.
And then the cool thing is like you can actually buy the biscuit mix either there or online, which we've done. We've actually bought the biscuit mix and have it shipped to Connecticut. You can buy their jams and jellies. Again, they'll ship them to you.
We could probably get hams from them.
You can get hams from them. And like Jeff has this T-shirt about like smoked butts, and I have a Loveless sweatshirt. It's one of those places that like everybody talks about. That if you're gonna be in that area, you have to go, and it's fine because there's always a wait. You're gonna wait to get in there, and it's worth it.
Yeah, and if you're waiting, you'll probably walk around the several retail buildings around. Cause was that the one that's the old motel?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of buildings. It looks like there's an area for events that maybe get put on when the weather's appropriate.
And they have like games and stuff outside that you can play, and so they give you kind of some stuff to do. But it's funny because like it's a restaurant, and you kind of look at it from the outside and you're like, yeah, it kind of looks like a hole in the wall restaurant, but the food is amazing. And then you can, they've built off of that and said, you can take some Loveless home with you, right? And that's kind of the thing is like if you kind of notice with a lot of these, there is the intersection of the physical location, right, which you want to go to and you want to be at, but then when you can't go, you can get everything you need online.
That's right. And it's it's the connection that keeps it going because it's like we will occasionally get more biscuit mix or we'll occasionally get more jam. Oh, the jam is delicious.
We need to order more jam. I think we're just about out of jam.
Yes. But, we can keep ordering those things. But guess what? Next time we're in the Nashville area, guess where we'll be going? To eat there, too. So, it keeps us loyal going back there. We don't need the Facebook ad the next time.
Yeah.
Because there's the synergy that keeps us in their hemisphere.
Well, that's the
their
thing,
gravitational pull.
And they're really good, about collecting your email address and getting you on their email list and, And the thing that they're really good at is they don't just talk about like what's going on in the restaurant. They also remind you of all the stuff you can order if you're not nearby. So, I think that that's super important. I think a lot of times when we're dealing with brick and mortar, we're trying so hard to get people into the physical location that we ignore people who might be on our list who aren't local.
We bite off our nose to spite our face.
Exactly.
Is that really the phrase?
I think so.
Okay,
so let's talk about how to become a destination location, because I think a lot of people are like, all right, cool, this sounds awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and if I only had the money of IKEA, I could do this.
Right, but you really don't, okay? You don't need to put in an ice skating rink. You don't need an IMAX theater. The thing you do need to do, though, is you need to start thinking about your business as a national brand. You need to stop thinking small.
And granted, you might not get to the end goal desire overnight. Be willing to increment your way and make improvements to get closer and closer to the ultimate destination location that you can be.
But that's the thing. It's like, I know some of you listening, you have an online presence and then you have a brick and mortar.
And sometimes you don't even connect the two.
Right. But you're not connecting them well. You want people to think, hey, when I go to your area of the country, I'm going to drive 45 minutes out of my way because I want to go to this person's shop. I actually want to meet this person.
I'm in Indianapolis and I want to drive myself down to Terre Haute.
Yeah.
I've thought that.
Okay. But that's the thing is like, you have to be thinking, and the thing is like, you can start regionally, right? So you can really start your ad buys like in New England.
Think about Rock City. Become that Rock City.
And think about, why do people come to your area of the country? So you can kind of start there. Like if you know that there's a big festival that people are coming to, and those people might be, fans of what you do, when that festival is coming, you need to be cross advertising and using their audience to try to pull people in. If you are near a tourist destination, but maybe you're like 45 minutes away, you can use that to try to pull people
How can you
into
get
your
a half
store.
a day of that time?
Exactly. But start thinking about more than just your local area. You want to enable people to experience your products. When I was going through like doing this research, one of the places I came upon was a gaming store, which of course that pulled me in because Jeff's into that. And they actually have an area where you can try all of their games. So, because a lot of times you go to stores like that sell these really high priced like board games that you've never heard of before. And you're like, well, that might be cool, but I don't know if I want to drop $75 on a board game if I don't know if it's going to be good or not.
Yeah.
You want to touch all the pieces and you want to see what it looks like and how it might play.
Get a feel for how it plays.
And this store does that. And that's one of the big draws is that it's become a destination location for people who are into indie games. So let people experience your products, let people touch things. Another thing is hold in-store classes and consider multi-day classes for people who are going to come in from out of town. I think a lot of times we think, oh, well, most people in my area, they're only going to want to take a class at night.
Between 7 and 9. So there's going to be a 2-hour class from 7 to 9.
Right. And then I'm going to hold it over 6 weeks. Consider holding a 2-day class. And maybe you start on the weekend that it's a Saturday and Sunday class. But I'll tell you, King Arthur Flower has full day classes every day of the week, multi-day classes during the week, because people come there to take the classes. And so I would, start to experiment with that. The worst that happens is that you don't fill the class and you cancel the class.
Yeah. So, the thing to keep in mind is don't go out and just find a new location that has 75 times the square footage you need to become that tomorrow. Start testing out things that work and don't work with your customers and layer in experiences. We don't have to be at our final goal for our business tomorrow. And if we do, we'll probably still guess most of it wrong. So, start testing the things out, see what works, see what doesn't work. How can I address my space better to make it more of an experience? The reason people go to Apple stores isn't for the stock. I mean, there's like 5 things for sale on the whole place. So it's to sit at the table and to futz with your phone and to talk to other Apple users.
And God forbid, don't drop your phone.
And don't drop your new phone and spend $800 to replace the screen.
Yeah, exactly. You want to build a location where people can hang out. Okay. And this is kind of a double-edged sword because you want people to come in and hang out, but you also need to make sure that they're spending money. Okay. So, and typically I find like if you're a destination location, people are willing to spend money when they come, even if part of it is like to do the touristy thing and hang out. And I would also, and I think this is Jeff's recommendation, if you are a place where somebody's going to bring their spouse, you want to make sure that there is somewhere for the spouse to hang out.
There's freaking chairs, women's clothing stores. Put chairs in. Chairs.
Well, I think what was your recommendation to put a man cave in the
cave in the back of the women's store, yeah. Just go in there. There's like an Xbox, a PS4, just, stay back there until the wife comes for you again.
Well, and that's kind of the cool thing, like, we were talking about Kennedy's before, is like, sometimes like I'll go futz around in the area where you're, where you get your hair cut. But then when I'm done, Kennedy's has Wi-Fi. They have a table I can sit at. I can watch TV.
They'll give her a drink for free too. She can knit if she wants to. She can collude with my barber to trim my eyebrows.
But think about it, it's like, a lot of times, like if you're waiting for your spouse, at the, the barber shop or the salon
or the nail place,
it sucks.
Horrible.
So have a place where the spouse can hang out, offer things that kids can do. So that way people can bring their kids with them.
Or at a minimum, have low-cost edibles that people can buy from you, Remember, lots of game stores have gone out of business around here, and people would go and hang out at them all day. Like Kristin said, they wouldn't buy anything. They had to go in and out of the store 10 times to go buy a Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Maybe get a few freaking coffee things people can squeeze out their own coffee, or the machine they can put a little bit of money in, and then they don't have to they don't have to leave your store to get those kind of things. You know, a little refrigerator with frozen burritos.
Yum. Ugh.
I never liked those, but I knew a lot of people who did.
But it's interesting, like one of the things that some of the grocery stores are starting to experiment with here is if you go grocery shopping during the day on certain days of the week, they actually have a play place where your kids can hang out while you go grocery shopping. Now, if you've got littles, imagine how awesome that sounds, that you can drop your little kids off, let them play. It's all supervised. Like they've got kind of the equivalent of like daycare workers there. And you can do your grocery shopping. How cool is that?
Or the destination grocery store around us, Stu Leonard's, where they have like little animatronic stuff every so often, so the kids can push the button and be like, "Whoa, Mommy, no, let's go back. I need to push the button again." Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, I forgot to add Stu Leonard's to the list. I think that's another one. That there's all these animatronics. They have lots of samples. They have an amazing like hot bar. So like if you want to eat lunch while you're there.
Okay, it's approaching lunch, honey.
I'm sorry. I know. It's really bad. Okay. So we're not going to talk about Stu Leonard's anymore, but look that one up because people travel like from all over the place to just go to Stu Leonard's. And here's the thing, ultimately you want to create a fun atmosphere, right? You want this to be somewhere, if people don't enjoy going to your place of business, they're not going to go.
And depending on what it is and who your avatar is, that's a different thing. Fun for Jeffrey is not fun for someone else because they're wrong. But
fun for Jeffrey's biscuits and jam.
Biscuits and jam, playing games with friends, and making goofy voices.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like it all depends, but
pushing buttons.
It has to be an enjoyable experience, right? You could have like the best selection in the entire world. Have you been to a Walmart on a Saturday? Like, it's funny because I just forgot, I forgot how bad Walmart was on Saturdays. And like, I did not have fun at Walmart. And it's going to be a really long time before we go back to Walmart again. You don't want your location to make people averse, right, from going. So, use these tips. See how you can either improve your own business or how you can help your clients improve their businesses. But really, if you are going to survive, you need to have a destination location for your brick and mortar. You need people from outside to come in and check it out. How do you do that? We just gave you a whole bunch of tips. If you need more help with this, say you have a brick and mortar, you have a restaurant, and you're not sure how to do this, join our Facebook group. Facebook.com/groups/smallbizlife. Because here's the thing, especially if you're brick and mortar, you could be just like one step away from having the business that you've always wanted. And maybe this is your step. If it is, let us know. We'd love to hear about it. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
This was Small Biz Life.